Today on New Canadians, we are going to talk about immigration appeals. And for that, we have an expert, Petya Ignatova. She is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and owner of Advocus Immigration Consulting. Welcome, Petya.
Thank you for having me today.
So, when a person applies for an immigration program, sometimes the decision might not go in their favor. What can they do in such a situation?
Depending on the case, they have the right to appeal. They either go through the Refugee Appeal Division, or if they're failed refugee claimants, or they go through the Immigration Appeal Division if they want to appeal a removal order, or they want to appeal sponsorship, or they want to appeal residency obligations.
Who all are eligible to make an immigration appeal? Are there any exceptions?
Not all immigration applications can be appealed. There are also certain groups that they cannot appeal. If there's serious criminality involved, we cannot appeal. There are also certain deadlines that they need to meet. For example, somebody who wants to appeal the sponsorship, they have 60 days from the date they receive the refusal letter, while a removal order appeal has only 30 days.
Could you please let us know some scenarios where the right to file an appeal can be used?
For example, somebody who is a permanent resident and right now they're outside of Canada. For whatever reason, they don't have their PR card and they want to come back. In this case scenario, they need to apply for so-called travel document. And if they didn't comply, if the officer finds that they didn't comply with their residency obligations, which is 730 days within the last 5 years, they will get a refusal. So they wouldn't get the travel document. At that moment, they need to appeal at IRB, Immigration and Refugee Board, the Immigration Appeal Division. Another case scenario, a foreign national having a permanent resident visa at the port of entry, for whatever reason they were found inadmissible. They will be allowed to cross the border, but they will be sent to an admissibility hearing. Then they actually eventually will be fighting a removal order. So they can appeal that as well. The spouse who is outside of Canada got a refusal for their permanent resident visa. So the Canadian side or the Canadian spouse or common law partner can appeal the decision. If we have a spousal sponsorship from inside Canada or common law sponsorship from inside Canada, there is no such right. People need to educate themselves or find the right professional. I would suggest going to Immigration and Refugee Board website. There's a lot of information. It's a very simple language and everybody can understand it. Or they really need to do their research and find the right professional to help them.
What would you say are some general steps in the process of an immigration appeal?
So the first most important is to know how much time you have to start it. If we have a refugee appeal, for example, it's only 15 days. We're having a residency obligation appeal, so it's 60 days. So it depends on the case. So the first step would be to submit a notice to appeal. And for this, you don't need many documents. You just need, for example, the refusal letter, and there is a form called notice to appeal. And then definitely you need to prepare for your hearing. Again, either you want to do it by yourself or you need to find a professional. After that, depending on the outcome, you might have other options.
Okay, what would you suggest to people who are currently contemplating filing an immigration appeal?
So search for the best professional, or search at least for legal aid or other organizations that can help. If not, do it by yourself, but educate yourself first. Do your homework. Right? It's a complicated process. Gather your documents, and yes, be positive.
Finally, is there a way out for somebody whose appeal gets rejected?
One of the next step could be going to federal court for judicial review. Could be eligible for so-called humanitarian compassionate permanent residence application. Really depends on the case, but definitely judicial review is for everyone.
Thank you, Petya.
You're very welcome.